Maignan was just racially abused in a Serie A game by the fans, and himself and his teammates decided to walk off the field. This just happens all too often. It happens very frequently in Spain and Italy, but sadly this is not going to be the last time that this happens either. I want to say it happened about 8 times to Vinicius Jr. last year, and of course La Liga did nothing about it. And of course, if they don't do anything about it, it's going to continue to happen. I don't know if it's the same in the Serie A, but basically last year in La Liga, I feel like maybe the clubs just got a fine, and I think the certain section that racial abuse came from maybe wasn't allowed to come back into the game for the next, month, but still, I just don't feel like they do enough in these circumstances. There's some people on Twitter that are asking questions like, what can the league do? It's just some certain individuals, and not all the fans are bad, but I just feel like you can't think like that. I remember in about 2018, Dortmund versus Atalanta in the round of 16, I want to say, of the Europa League, and Michy Batshuayi was playing for Dortmund, and he was getting racially abused by the Atalanta fans, and you could hear it on the broadcast. And of course, what do we say, 6 years later, the same exact stuff happens. I feel like if this happens, what you have to do is basically empty out the entire stadium. The next game that Udinese plays, they should not be able to sell tickets. I feel like until the league start taking very serious measures to prevent this stuff is going to continue to happen. My guess as to what's going to happen after this event is Serie A is going to invest a little investigation into the Udinese fans, see if they find anything wrong, and maybe try and find someone or ban someone from the stadium. But I feel like if you really wanted to prevent this as a league, the repercussions should be so much bigger than they usually are. Think about all the events that happened in La Liga last season with Vinicius. I think he was racially abused, I want to say 8 times, 8 separate times, and La Liga did nothing about it. This stuff just happens all too often, especially in Spain and Italy, and it's just sad that a player has to take matters into his own hands and walk off the field to prevent being racially abused. Especially for the Serie A and La Liga, this just happens way too often to continue to not do anything about it. The things that you've tried previously have obviously not worked because this is continuing to happen year after year. Maybe you should try and switch up your strategy. I feel like if this happens, fans shouldn't be allowed into the next game because you're basically saying it's completely okay that they did that. We're just going to look past it and we're going to launch a little investigation and see what we can find out. If that continues to just be a part of Spanish and Italian culture, then maybe they shouldn't have fans in the stadium at all. The players should be racially abused when they're just trying to play football, and it's pretty sad that this continues to happen, and it will continue to happen unless the league takes extreme measures to prevent it from happening.